Hello my dear students, hope you all are doing good. Once again welcome to your online class. Today we will be beginning a new chapter of your chemistry textbook, that is the analytical chemistry, and this is the shortest chapter in your textbook as well. So in this chapter we will learn about the analysis of a given sample. So now what does the word analysis mean? So the determination of chemical component in a given sample is known as analysis. So whenever you are given any sample and if you are asked to find out what are the different things present in that sample, the first thing, and the second one is like what are the quantity of the substances present in a given matter. So that's why the analyses are of two kinds. One is known as the qualitative analysis and the second one is known as the quantitative analysis. So the qualitative analysis deals with the identification of unknown substances in a given sample, and whereas the quantitative analysis, it determines the composition of mixture in a given sample. Now coming to the qualitative analysis, so this chapter deals with the qualitative analysis, that is the identification of an unknown substance in a given solution. So how do we identify? Generally there are certain compounds known as reagents or chemical substances which are known as reagents. When these reagents are added to the given sample, so it shows a different color. Okay, so by looking at the color we can easily tell about the presence of the ions or different metals and the non-metals in a given sample. So the chemical substances which precipitates the given sample, okay, when added are known as reagents. So in this chapter we will learn about the two reagents, that is the ammonium hydroxide and a sodium hydroxide. These are the most commonly used reagent in a chemical lab. So now coming to the uses of reagents or identification of an unknown substance in a given sample. So as I already mentioned that by looking at the color of the precipitate, okay, which we in short we can call PPT, we can easily predict what ions are present in it. So for that you need to remember the color of the different ions. Okay, so most of the ions, whether a cation or an anion, they are colorless, like ammonium ion, sodium, potassium, calcium, aluminum, lead, zinc, all of them they are colorless. And in case of an anion, most of the anion like a chloride ion, sulfate ion, carbonate, nitrite, sulfide, bromide, all of them they are colorless. But there are few which are colored as well. So if you remember the colored ions, rest of them, all of them are colorless. Like the colored ion, the green color ion, usually the chromium ion and the ferrous ion, that is Fe2 plus, they are green in color. Okay, copper ion is blue in color, the manganese is pink in color, and the ferric is brown in color. So you will obviously find difficulty in remembering this name of these ions. So there is a very simple technique to remember this. So what you will remember, you will remember this one. Okay, so you will remember the green crow. Okay, so you write Fasa. Okay, so the green crow Fasa, blue cup में. Okay, the green crow Fasa, blue cup में, and then pink man, and then brown Fe3 plus. Okay, so if you remember this, so you will be remembering the name of all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cation. So the green represents the green color. Okay, crow represents the chromium, Fasa means it represents Fe2 plus. Okay, chromium is 3 plus, blue represents blue, and cup represents Cu2 plus. Okay, and the pink represents pink, and Mn represents the manganese, Mn2 plus, and the brown is ferric. So in this way we can remember. So green, here I have a blue, and then here I have pink, and then brown. Okay, so remember this one: green crow Fasa, blue cup में, pink man, brown Fe3 plus. So in this way you can remember the name of the colored cations, and then apart from this all, rest of them they all are colorless. Now coming to the colored ions, so there are only 3 anions that are colored. The pink is the permanganate, okay, and the dichromate is orange in color, and chromate is yellow in color. And apart from these 3 anions, rest of them they all are colorless, like chloride, sulfide, carbonate, nitride, sulfide and bromide, all of them they are colorless ion. Okay, so once you remember the color of the cation and the anion, it will be very easy for you to predict or remember the name of the different salts. Like for example, if you have a water, okay, or clear water, if in this clear water if you add a blue color, so what will be the resultant? The resultant will obviously be blue. Okay, so if another is, if you have a water plus water, what does it give? It will give you a clear solution. Okay, that is, it will give you the color of water, and that is colorless. So in this way we can remember the color of a different salt. Like for example, if I ask you what is the color of a sodium chloride, NaCl. Okay, so what is NaCl? Is formed by mixing sodium and chlorine. So if you see sodium, the sodium is also colorless and the chlorine is also colorless. So the sodium chloride will also be colorless. Okay, now if I ask you what will be the color of copper sulfate, like CuSO4. Okay, so the copper sulfate. So here coming to the copper is blue in color. So this is blue, and sulfate, the sulfate is colorless. So blue plus colorless will give you blue. Okay, so in this way we can easily remember the color of the different salts. So now what we'll do is we'll try to remember the reactions, or we'll try to identify the presence of different cations and anions by the addition of a suitable reagent, that is a sodium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide. We'll see this now. So now coming to the next topic in this chapter, so you have to learn the reaction of the following salt with the alkali, and similarly you have to learn it with the ammonium hydroxide as well. So here is the formula, the main formula, okay, which tells us what happens when you treat a given salt solution with the sodium hydroxide. So whenever the salt solution is treated with the alkali, it will give a metal hydroxide and salt, and this salt will be formed within the solution. Okay, and this metallic hydroxide, it get precipitate. So by looking at the color of that precipitate, you will be predicting which cation was present in the given sample. Like in the first case, when a calcium nitride treated with the sodium hydroxide, what happens? It forms the calcium hydroxide plus the salt, the sodium nitride. And like as I have already mentioned, how can you remember the color of this salt or color of this hydroxide? The calcium is colorless, hydroxide is also colorless. So colorless plus colorless, it gives colorless, where here I have mentioned it as a white. Okay, so whenever you add a sodium hydroxide to a given salt that contains a calcium ion, what happens? The white PPT appears. Okay, and then this white PPT is sparingly soluble in the axis of the given alkali. Similarly, in a ferric sulfate, whenever you add a sodium hydroxide, what happens? It gives a dirty green in color, because we know the color of the Fe is green. Okay, so and this PPT is insoluble in the axis of alkali. Similarly, the copper sulfate, when treated with a sodium hydroxide, it gives a copper hydroxide. Since there is a presence of copper, okay, so the copper is bluish in color. So that's why the color of this salt is a pale blue color, and this PPT is insoluble in the axis of alkali. And the third is zinc. When treated with a given alkali, it gives white precipitate, and this white precipitate is soluble in the axis of alkali. And finally, the lead nitride, when treated with a sodium hydroxide, it gives a white precipitate, and this white precipitate is soluble in the axis of alkali. So similarly, you have to learn the reaction of the given salt, of the following salts, again with the ammonium NH4OH. Okay, so even with this, so the reaction followed is the same reaction. Thank you. Now the final topic in this chapter is the amphoteric oxide. So what are the amphoteric oxide? They are those chemical compounds which reacts with both the acid and the base to form salt in water. So the example of amphoteric oxide is a zinc oxide. So in the first reaction we see that the zinc oxide, when treated with the acid, so what does it give? It gives a salt and water. So this is the neutralization reaction. So in the neutralization reaction, one is the acid, means here the zinc oxide acts as a base. Now coming to the second one, so the same zinc oxide, when treated with the sodium hydroxide, which is a base, it gives a sodium zincate and again a water, so salt and a water. So in this case, the zinc oxide, it acts as a acid. Okay, so such compounds, which shows the dual character of acid and as well as base are known as amphoteric oxide. So there are few of the more reaction related to the reaction between the metals and the alkalis, which you have to learn by your heart. So I'll send you some of the notes related to this chapter, and then in the next class we'll begin a new chapter. Thank you.